Tough scene, no doubt. Unfortunately, college basketball is a little different than professional basketball. Most of your players on this Houston team, at least your leaders, are leaving. Juwan Roberts, LJ Cryer, they are done. And obviously now with college basketball, the transfer portal, Houston typically doesn't lose players. But the team you have, this one right here, I truly believe Kelvin Sampson, the head coach, believed this team was built to contend for a national championship. And it did that. It did that. Next year, you were coming in with arguably the nation's 1 or 2 or 3 best recruiting class in the country. But it's hard to win with freshmen. Just ask Duke. And Duke had possibly one of the greatest freshmen that this game has seen in the past 15, 20 years. Now, when we're looking at what was being said in the locker room, let's now hear from Juwan Roberts, Houston forward Juwan Roberts. Here's what he had to say about this crushing defeat.
It was a play for LJ, and if that didn't work, it was supposed to be a elevator screen for Emmanuel, and I felt like he had a good look, just didn't get the shot off. I think that's the biggest thing, just didn't get the shot off, but I think we executed pretty good, and it just didn't go the way we wanted to.
So that is Juwan Roberts, who played 35 minutes, almost 36 minutes, scored 8 points, 3 of 13 from the floor. LJ Cryer leading away with 19. Juwan alluded to LJ in that last piece of post-game interview that we just heard. LJ Cryer, he was the offense. He was the offense for Houston. And here's what LJ Cryer had to say from the Houston locker room.
I mean, he told us that it should hurt. I mean, it does hurt, but don't look back at this season and only look at this, because we accomplished so much together. We've been through so much together, and there's a lot of good moments that we had in this season. So this game right here doesn't define us. Having a trophy doesn't define us. So I mean, yeah, that's really his message.
What do you think about?
Now, LJ Cryer earlier, about 3 or 4 days ago here in San Antonio, had mentioned that winning would be almost like the cherry on top. Certainly putting it in perspective there, this is the greatest run of Cougar basketball we have seen when you look at the number of wins each season. Phi Slamma Jamma was incredible as well, but I think a lot of people might consider right now the greatest run of Houston basketball, even though Houston still does not have that NCAA championship. LJ Cryer, again, was really good in this game. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of 11 from 3, 6 of 18 shooting the basketball. Obviously, LJ Cryer is usually a little bit better when it comes to efficiency, but he was the offense. And this Florida defense, give Florida credit. Now, also in the locker room, we're catching up with Terrence Arsenault from Beaumont. Terrence does a very good job of putting things in context and perspective when we speak to him leading up to these games. Here's what Terrence Arsenault had to say about this loss.
Disappointed, not just, sad. I'm lost for words. In a game like that close, I felt like we had control of it the whole game and we just let it go.
So there is Terrence Arsenault as he played just 8 minutes, no points. Terrence Arsenault has been a Swiss Army knife for this group and did not get a lot of minutes tonight, which was interesting given his length and the foul trouble that the front court was in. Part of that foul trouble, unfortunately, was JoJo Tugler, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. JoJo Tugler, distraught like many of these Houston players. Zach Tawatari speaking with JoJo Tugler moments ago, and here is what JoJo had to say.
What do you think went wrong late?
The shots we was getting, the shots they was getting, you know, certain shots we was taking and getting. I don't know. Man, I just got that out of my chest. Gotta get that mother, man. I'm sorry, y'all. My head spinning. Man, bro. He was right there. He's right there. It's right there. 2 points. Man.
2 points. 2 points. Here with Zach Tawatari now, who has just left the Houston locker room, obviously, joining us. And we know what these scenes are like. And I can imagine this one, just based on the snippets of video that we have shown, devastating, tears, you name it. I imagine it was all in there in plain sight for all of the reporters to see.
Yeah, a losing locker room, always tough, but on the night you lose the national championship, it's absolutely brutal for these guys.
And the way they lost.
They
had
exactly.
that lead. They had a double-digit lead. They led for 30 minutes.
And in so many ways, this game playing out almost the exact way the Duke game played out, but
Opposite.
in their favor at that time. And now feeling the heartbreak of what transpired here tonight. Obviously, they're proud. They're proud of the season that they had, and that was the message from Kelvin Sampson. He said to reporters in the hallway, this team should be proud. He also said, I thought both of these teams played hard. I don't know that either one played great. And that was, I thought, a very good way to describe what happened tonight on the court.
But when you look at the final score, 65-63, that was the pace. That's where that's the range of scoring that Houston likes to operate within. So this game clearly, not just with our eyeballs, but also the numbers, this is the type of game Houston, I think, wanted, and they just could not close the deal, which is so uncharacteristic for this group, the way they've played in late game situations. On the flip side of that, covering Houston basketball over the years, this team, unfortunately, does go through scoring droughts.
They do.
And we saw one during the second half. They just could not hit buckets. And unfortunately, it caught up to them in this game. Did you happen to hear what Kelvin said about the final play, what Houston was hoping to accomplish, and what he feels fell through for the Cougs?
We heard from both Juwan and Kelvin talking about that final play. Juwan saying it was actually drawn up for LJ. LJ was supposed to be who the ball ended up going to take that final shot.
Which is not surprising to anybody.
Not surprising at all. That's exactly whose hands you want the ball to be in. Kelvin saying that he guesses that Emmanuel thought he had a look on that last play. I can tell you Emmanuel did not talk in the locker room. We saw him in the back, open the door very briefly, towel over his head. Obviously, he was devastated. He was devastated by what happened. Him and Javier Francis, both devastated by what happened. I asked LJ, what was Kelvin's message to you after the game? And I think we heard it in the post-game sound, but they did say that Kelvin very much wanted them to be proud of where they got to. Obviously, you would expect the head coach to say that, but Juwan's saying, he felt that Kelvin really wanted them to win it for them, for the players. And they so badly wanted to win it for him, Jason.
Yeah.
They did.
It's the real one item that is not on his resume.
Yeah.
The one box that he has not checked off thus far in one incredible Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame career. I wanted to pull up the final play here just so we could look at it to see exactly how much time was on the clock when Emmanuel got that ball. He was way out there.
He was way out there. That
would have been some kind of shot, which we have seen him hit from that distance.
We've seen him hit it. Kelvin did say, I think Emmanuel probably wishes he had a couple of those looks back. He also said that he focused with Emmanuel on the great defense that he played on Clayton Jr. Interestingly, Jason, Kelvin said that in the first half, their goal was to not allow Clayton Jr. to go left. And that's why they actually were able to hold him to so few points, because they didn't allow him to go left. But it was Emmanuel's defense that really kept him off the board.
So Emmanuel, I'm looking here, got the ball with about 5 seconds left. That is not a lot of time to operate.
It's not. I mean, that
they
point,
started at 6.1. He's got the ball around 5. There really isn't a lot of options with that amount of time on the clock.
The person that's touching the ball is taking the shot in that time frame. You know what I'm saying? With 5 seconds left, you have to pretty much be the one taking the shot.
Yeah. So LJ had the ball originally.
Right.
And he gets doubled immediately.
Which is why he gives it
had to give it
to Emmanuel.
Well, he didn't get doubled. He was on single coverage there, I should say, and then helped.
But he had help coming.
But Emmanuel was open, but then Clayton Jr. comes out of nowhere, and the rest is history. So that is what the Cougs were saying in the locker room. While that is going on, Kelvin Sampson, Juwan Roberts, LJ Cryer are speaking at the podium, the post-game news conference. Let's now hear what they were saying, answering questions from the media in the interview room.
We're joined by Houston's head coach Kelvin Sampson, student athletes Juwan Roberts and LJ Cryer. We'll ask Coach to begin with a statement, then we'll take questions first for the student athletes. Coach.
Yeah, I told our guys after the game to be disappointed you lost, but do not be disappointed in your effort. Defending Florida is difficult. They got a really, really good team. Coach Golden runs great schemes over there, but we guarded them. We held that team to 65 points. I thought if we held Duke to under 70, we'd have a good chance to win. And I felt like if we held Florida under 70, we'd have a good chance to win. Saturday, we found a way to win. Tonight, maybe not so much. But two great teams, two tough teams. We lost by 2 points. They made one more play than we did tonight.
LJ Cryer and Juwan Roberts have been kind enough to join us all week in the media room. Let's raise our hand if we have a question for them. We'll start up front.
Juwan, 6 years with Coach Sampson. What has he meant to your life? What has Houston meant to your life? And how do you are you looking at all toward the future with leaving this program as a player?
Coach Sampson's been everything to me, from Coach Sampson down to grandkids. Everybody played a part in me being here for 6 years, and I wanted it so bad for him, so bad, and it hurts because I can't do it next year. I can't put myself in position to do it next year. This will be my last time wearing my jersey, and I feel terrible. But I told the younger guys, to the returners, to remember this feeling. So when you in this moment again, or you're in this situation again, you'll be on top. And I feel like everything you go through in life is a lesson. And I'm glad I could play with LJ. I'm glad I played with all those guys. But Coach Sampson, the role that he played in my life, I can't even put into words.
Continuing with questions for Juwan and LJ, we'll take one in the back of the room, left of the aisle, mid-major.
Isaac Bourne, Mid-Major Madness. For both LJ and Juwan, you guys leading this team this season, can you talk about what it's been like with this group of guys and what it means to be able to still go out with them?
The journey's been great. I had a lot of ups and downs. Fought through a lot of adversity, and we all stayed together. We all believed in each other, and we just came up short. and there's probably a lot of stuff that we wish we could do. But I mean, I'm proud of these guys, but I'm mostly sad that I can't do with them again. That's the worst part. I'm not gonna be teammates with Emmanuel again. LJ, Malik, Jay. This is by far, out of my 6 years, the best team I've been on.
Yeah, I'm just proud of the way we fought all season. You know, we went through some adversity early, and people tried to kind of write us off a little bit, not expecting us to get to this point. But, you know, we kept our head down and kept grinding all season, and we flipped it around. Went 19-1 Big 12 tournament champs, and made it all the way to the last game. So, man, it didn't end the way we wanted to, but, you know, we just got to hold our heads high because we did accomplish a lot. So, yeah.
In the center of the room, reach for that microphone on your left. Thank you.
Greg Rajan, Houston Chronicle. LJ, you made two decisions. You made one to transfer to Houston. You made one last summer to run it back. What was the experience like for you playing in your hometown, helping take this program to another level in a new conference?
Man, this experience it's hard to describe it. I mean, I remember before I got to Houston, I had 3 foot surgeries before I got here, and after those surgeries, I was kind of questioning myself if I was going to ever be the player I once was before. Never. My confidence was kind of shook. I wasn't confident in my movement. But coming to Houston, the coaches, they believed in me. Coach Q, I used to have talks with him every single day in his office, telling him these things like, he'll be like, man, go out there and be free. But I used to tell him I was scared because of my surgeries and stuff like that. But they believed in me, told me to trust God, and, you know, I've accomplished a lot because I listened to him and put my faith in God. So it's been a blessing being here. This has been the best year of my life so far. So, yeah, I'm just proud to be a Cougar, man.
If you have a question for LJ or Juwan, please raise your hand. Let's get the gentleman a microphone all the way up front and to the right.
Antonio Castillo, Alamo City Hoops.
Hand up.
Antonio Castillo, Alamo City Hoops. Juwan, I know you just mentioned the last 6 years, but, you know, just obviously the pain is tremendous right now. But we've followed you the last 8 or 9 years, and people may not know, just up the road right here at the Shoemaker High School. And again, just talk about the trip that it's been, you know, these last 8, 9 years, and just reflect, obviously, like you're talking about the positive vibes. And did you ever think you would end it this way at a pinnacle, right, and playing for a national championship?
One, I thank the coaches for, you know, coming to one of my AU games, you know, looking at me and giving me the opportunity to play at University of Houston. You know, that's step one for giving me the opportunity. And they invested so much in me, you know, development-wise. Redshirted my first year, and 6 years later, who knows that I would have been playing, you know, for a national championship. You know, when I first got here, I wasn't a nobody scouting report, you know, and I worked my butt off, and, you know, they continued to help me along their way. And 6 years later, I had a different role, and I feel like the coaches had a lot of trust in me to lead this team. And, you know, these past 6 years have been the best years of my life, you know. And like I said, the worst part about it is I can't do it again. But I'll always be a Cougar. You know, no matter how you try to shape it, I'm always going to be a Cougar, and this is going to always be my home. So 10 to 15, 20 years from now, you know, I'm always look back on this game and remember the team, you know, and remember the coaches that put me in position to be the best I can be. So I give all the credit, you know, to my teammates and my coaches for, you know, giving me the opportunity.
We want to thank Juwan and thank LJ for joining us here tonight and all week. They're going